She is not my daughter.
My father said it again, but quieter this time, like repeating it made it more real. Not louder, not emotional, just certain. That was worse. The courtroom didn't react immediately. It kind of hesitated, like people were deciding if they were allowed to respond yet. Someone behind me moved in their seat. Too loud. Then nothing again. My name is Mara Ellison, and I remember thinking, randomly, not logically, that if I just didn't move, maybe I wouldn't have to become part of this moment. That didn't happen. Ashford Mill, Colorado, always made serious things feel slightly delayed. Even the courthouse felt too normal for what was being said inside it. Old wood smell, burnt coffee, wet coats. Nothing about it looked like a life-changing direction. My father stood at the front like he wasn't even arguing, more like correcting something he already decided was true. "Fraud," he said again. Not angry now, just flat. "She's not my daughter. That's the truth." He said truth like it wasn't something people disagreed with. Behind me, something dropped. I don't even remember what it was. Nobody picked it up right away. That delay stayed with me more than his words. My attorney didn't react much. She just placed a sealed envelope on the table. No explanation, no build-up. Like she didn't want to make it feel important before it had to be. Dark blue seal. Federal. That part I remember clearly because it didn't belong in a case like mine. The judge opened it slower than necessary. That small delay felt intentional, but maybe it wasn't. At first, nothing changed. Then he kept reading. Longer than expected. He leaned back slightly, exhaled once, like he was deciding something internally. Then he said, "Everyone stand." No explanation after that. Nobody asked. That was when I noticed my father stop moving. Not fear, exactly, more like confusion that didn't know where to go. I grew up in Ashford Mill thinking families like mine were just normal in a different way. Not good, not bad, just structured in a way you don't question until later. My father, Richard Ellison, didn't talk much at home. He didn't need to. Silence was enough. People in town respected him before they knew him. After they knew him, too. Retired military police, controlled voice, controlled face. The kind of man who looked like he always knew what was right, even when he didn't say it out loud. At home, that control just became distance. My brother Jake figured out how to exist around it without getting crushed by it. I didn't figure that out early enough. I still remember Jake crashing Dad's truck at 16. Dad laughed like it proved something about life. I got a B+ once in chemistry. He didn't speak to me for 3 days. Not even angry, just gone in a way that felt worse. My mother, Helen, moved through the house like she was constantly trying to keep everything from breaking further. At night, she would sit near me sometimes without turning on the light. "You don't have to become hard just to survive here," she said once. I didn't answer. I think I pretended I was asleep, but I heard her. At 17, I left. No argument, no big moment, just papers, a bag, and a kitchen that felt too small suddenly. When I told them, my mother cried before I even finished. My father didn't look up. "You'll come back," he said. Not like a guess, like it already happened. I didn't respond. I just left with that sentence sitting in me longer than anything else. Military life didn't erase home. It just made everything more structured, so I didn't have to feel it as much. Pain became routine. Fatigue became normal. You keep going because stopping isn't part of the system. Some people broke, some left. I just stayed moving. Home didn't disappear. It just showed up in smaller ways I didn't always notice at first. Then my mother got sick. Pancreatic cancer. fast. Unfair in a way people try not to say out loud. I came back and stayed with her in the hospital more than anywhere else. Machines filled the silence in a way that felt almost too organized for something like dying. My father came and went, never stayed long, always like he was checking something instead of being there. One day he looked at me and said, "You always needed attention." It wasn't said with anger, just like it was something he observed. I laughed once. It didn't sound right. "She's dying," I said. He started to respond, then stopped, like the rest of it didn't matter enough to continue. My mother held my hand tighter that night. I don't know if she meant to. She died 2 days later. After the funeral, people said things around me instead of to me. My father didn't say anything for a long time. Then the lawsuit arrived. I almost didn't open it right away. It looked like normal legal paperwork at first. It wasn't. Inheritance dispute. Then the line, disputed paternity. I read it twice, then again because my brain refused to settle on it properly. That night I called Jake. He answered like it wasn't unusual. "You knew?" I asked. Pause. Then, "Dad's angry, that's all." "Angry?" I said. "He's saying I'm not his daughter." Another pause. "Don't make it bigger than it is," he said. That line stayed because he wasn't denying it, just minimizing it. That felt worse. The town reacted slowly, not loudly, just distance forming in small places. People stopped saying my name directly sometimes. A local paper called it a family dispute involving military record questions. I stopped correcting them after a while, not because I agreed, because correcting didn't change anything. At work, conversations became more careful, people watching how I reacted before speaking fully. Then Evelyn Brooks came into the case. She read everything once and said, "This isn't confusion, it's construction." I said, "He's still my father." She looked at me for a second too long, then said, "No, he's your opposing side." I didn't correct her again because I wasn't fully sure I could. The sealed document came later, federal, restricted, not meant to be casually opened. I was told it only mattered if my identity was officially challenged. Apparently it was. Standing in the courthouse hallway before the hearing, I felt something I couldn't fully name. Not fear, just awareness that something had already started moving without asking me. Inside, my father sat like nothing had changed. Jake didn't look at me once. The hearing started structured, then slowly became less structured. Words like unverified and alleged started replacing parts of my life I had actually lived. I stopped trying to defend everything at once. It wasn't possible. Then Evelyn stood, placed the sealed file on the table. The room didn't react immediately. It needed a second to understand it mattered. My father smiled once, small, almost dismissive. That didn't last. When the judge opened it, something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just permanently. He looked at me longer than necessary, then said, "We will recess." My father finally spoke. "What is that?" Evelyn didn't look at him fully. "Something you spent a long time avoiding," she said. And for the first time, I didn't feel erased. Just still in the middle of something I hadn't finished understanding yet.